This was a very important event today. It's about superintendents in the urban school districts advocating for our students, advocating for fair funding. Right now, many of our districts, including Harrisburg, we are in the top 10. In fact, we're number 3 in the top 10 of underfunded districts. So that leaves us at about $38 million in the underfunded category, that if we were to have those funds, we would be able to provide equitable education and resources for our students. Equitable funding allows us to be able to offer those basic necessities that we feel are important for students to have a well-rounded education. Right now, school districts in other parts of the state don't have to worry about 85% poverty as we do in Harrisburg. So this means that there are a lot of things that our students are lacking in order to be equal to other students in other districts in the surrounding areas that don't have the kind of poverty level we have. So this means that we have to provide medical treatment for our students. We provide mental health services for our students. Many of our students even come to us 3-4 years delayed in their abilities achievement-wise. So we have to make sure that we fill that achievement gap, that we are able to get them as soon as possible to help them get the basic skills that they need in order to continue to thrive and to achieve and really to learn. One of the most important things we want to do is make sure that our students are reading by 3rd grade. Well, if you come in 3-4 years delayed, how is that going to affect your ability to do that? But yet and still, the state, the legislators, everyone, parents, they expect us to be able to achieve at the same rate and in comparison with other districts that don't have some of the barriers and challenges that we do. So that funding helps us to provide the supports and the resources that give us that equity. It's the basic funding that comes in, but instead of all of the districts getting that funding, there's a specific formula they use for, it's like a weighted funding for those districts that that are urban and that have a significant amount of poverty. Acknowledging that, that is a barrier for us to be able to kind of make the academic gains that we need to make. So that formula would be used, and by that formula, we would then be appropriated the right kind of funding. Oh, it would help our budget greatly. Right now we have, again, 8 years ago I was faced with significant cuts. Now, once again, we have significant cuts. We're looking at, as everyone knows, we're looking at eliminating or reducing, once again, kindergarten. We already eliminated pre-K. We're looking at music, we're looking at athletics, we're looking at any vacancy positions we have. Last night you heard, we're cutting administrators from our district administrative team, we're cutting administrators from our school administrative teams. So that's what we have to do in order to make sure that we're going to be able to fund kindergarten. We'd be able to not only have sustainable programs like our kindergarten and be able to add pre-K, but we'd also be able to lower the tax rates for our citizens in the city of Harrisburg. Right now, we only receive 49%, well, really 38% of the 49% real estate that's eligible to be taxed, because we have this beautiful state, all of these state buildings, we have universities, we have hospitals, we have churches, we have other nonprofit entities that do not pay taxes, real estate taxes. So that leaves us at a great disadvantage because school districts depend on those taxes. So when we don't get them, then we have to look at other ways. I mean, we apply for grants, but some of the grants come with stipulations. Sometimes there's supplemental grants, but in our case, we need every piece of funding just to make us equitable with other districts. So sometimes we're not able to use those funds as fast as other districts using them because it's not a supplemental for us. It's a basic foundational resource that we need. We've been meeting individually with legislators and in groups, just sharing what we are dealing with, how the underfunding will help us if they are using the fair funding formula, and how we are encouraging them to. But mainly, superintendents wanted to stand up and be known to advocate for our students. And we wanted to be able to put a face with a name in a district and let them hear about how great our children are and the potential to be even greater if we have the sustainable funding. I felt today that we made some very important connections because we weren't just a name. We weren't just Harrisburg or Chester or Jonestown or Pottstown. You know, they really put it together, and we were able to establish a relationship. It's just going to take people doing the right things and putting the resources where they're needed. It just makes more sense. We have the research, we understand what it means, and we just have to take those bold steps to make sure that it happens.